Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the straight red card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. We figured we're both watching this Jamaica-Mexico game where they stopped it, I thought, for lightning.
Hey, that's what I thought too. I'm like, who stops it for rain?
But I guess they stopped it for rain, but there's no standing puddles. So I really don't understand that either. Was it also the additional humiliation of Mexico scoring an own goal? I don't know.
So yeah, there are two things on Twitter about it. Is that one was one of our listeners was saying that it was stopped for the rain delay because they didn't want the game to get out of control and sloppy and stuff like that.
I guess.
I mean, the second one was it was an impromptu kidnapping of the referee's family.
I mean, I just don't understand a 10-minute break and then get back on the field. And
it stopped raining. We'll put it that way. Maybe that was it.
Did it?
It looks like it. I haven't seen droplets coming down.
Doesn't that benefit Mexico to wait till it stops
100%. 100%.
I mean, if I'm Jamaica, I'm like, fuck, dude, it's rain. We play in rain in soccer. That's how it works.
Jamaica's like, if it's not raining during a game, that's just weird.
Yeah, it's not even a monsoon. It was coming down, but I mean, I don't understand that. I've seen teams play in rain with standing fucking puddles. Remember those games in Greece that Eddie Johnson and Freddie Adu had to play?
Well, even a number of CONCACAF games where you're playing in these island nations and it's monsooning, you kick the ball and then 10 feet later it stops dead.
Yeah.
It just hits a puddle, yeah.
Anyhow, tonight we're going to go over each of the groups here, and then we're going to pick our starting 11 versus El Salvador and just talk a little about what we need to do to win the game, which, shouldn't be a big issue. We should win. All we need is a tie.
Yeah.
God knows after the way we set up last time, if we do that again, I think. Now, I get it that, I'll save it.
Yeah, wait till we get there.
Because it's Hugo Perez. Let's go over these groups real quick. Jamaica, Mexico. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's funny because you texted me earlier on that the game was happening, the Jamaica-Mexico game, and you go, wouldn't it be funny if Jamaica ends up winning and knocks Mexico out of Nations League?
I did. That's what I said.
And then Jamaica goes up like in the 8th minute.
Yeah.
And then Mexico comes back real quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then Jamaica got their second goal, which was an own goal. Alvarez knocked it in.
This is the most demoralized, most deflated Mexican team I've ever seen, except for the year they almost didn't qualify and Graham Zusi saved
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome, Mexico.
That year was really bad too.
It was 2010. No, 2014.
It was bad.
Was it the year before? Because I think it was 2014. Because in the following year, they topped the league, they topped the group, and we failed to qualify.
Yeah,
and Mexico couldn't return the favor.
No, they could not. So yeah, it must have been 2013 qualifying before the World Cup that Graham Zusi saved their ass, and they love Graham Zusi in Mexico to this day. And then they ended up crushing or defeating New Zealand. I don't know what the score was, but I mean,
nobody remembers, nobody cares.
The Kiwis, what are they going to do? Again, I still go back and say Oceania should not be its own confederation. It should be like the Caribbean is to CONCACAF. They have this little island nation competition, and the top two winners of it get advanced into the AFC qualifications. There should not be an Oceania. This is ridiculous, and it's going to get more ridiculous now that we're going to have a 48-team World Cup. And that's a
really good idea, quite frankly.
I think it would streamline some shit. But the thing is, now we're guaranteed to have New Zealand in the World Cup every single fucking World Cup going forward, because Oceania is going to get 2 spots. It's going to be New Zealand and Togo.
Aren't they getting like 1.5 though? Aren't they still playing a play-in at that point?
I don't know. I thought they were going to get a full 2. I don't think that's been decided, but my guess is they're going to get a full 2, which is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But because now
Mexico
they
just ripped the crossbar.
Yeah, I know. Right now they get 0.5.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it. They're probably really distressed about the fact they only get 0.5, but they don't deserve any more than 0.5. So there you go. All right, let's go through these groups. We got Jamaica, Mexico going on right now. Jamaica's up 2-1. We got 3 minutes until halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, there's some good players on this Jamaican team. I mean, Leon Bailey, Nicholson. There's some good players on here. Aren't great. They're missing Blake.
Yep, I was going to say we were talking about that beforehand. Yeah.
Yep. Blake's missing. And so they got some guy from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds starting.
Riverhounds.
I'm like, oh God. Again, it's another one of those weird fucking football names.
Modes of transportation and animal.
Yes. It's like the Railhawks.
The Riverhounds.
The Pond Gerbils. I think is the one I came up with. The Pond Gerbils. It just doesn't make any sense.
A pond's not a mode of transportation.
No, I think there was because the Railhawks is a mode of transportation and an animal. But there was another team at the time named after a body of water and an animal.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. It wasn't the Seahawks, but that is in fact the case with the Seahawks, right? Is a Seahawk a real thing? Is a Seahawk a bird, or are they just saying they're hawks that fly near the sea?
Well, I mean that'd be the easy way to describe a hawk that flies next to the sea as a Seahawk. So maybe I don't know.
We've
really gone that deep into that.
but right now, if this result holds out, Mexico are out.
Yep, exactly.
They're done.
So, and as we're going to talk about the rest of the groups and everything, we're going to find out that each group literally is.
Sorry.
I'm trying to talk while that's happening too. That's why I kept looking over to my right side. God, they had the ball. It was right there.
I know. It's the second time they've had a shot and they passed it up. Leon Bailey passed that one breakaway up to cross it. What was he thinking? Just ram that shit home.
But it's fascinating that each group we're looking at is a do or die match in the last match. And I don't know if this was done on purpose, but ironically, each do or die match is the last match of the each group. So it's Jamaica, Mexico, it's Panama, Costa Rica, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, unlike groups of 4, this often happens in groups of 3.
Yeah.
Because they're less oddities and there are fewer games, right?
Yeah.
4 home and away instead of 6. So,
but
anyhow,
So from the match we're watching right now, because it is live, and of course it's going to be obsolete because by the time this gets out, the game's going to be over.
We're going to put it out tonight, right?
Yeah, but the game's going to be over before then.
All right. I got to come up with a title for this thing.
So, given how each team's performing, currently speaking, and he just awarded a PK right before halftime. No.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no. Okay. So, assuming that we're going to halftime 2-2, Derek.
2-2.
Given how Jamaica and Mexico are playing, what do you think the outcome's going to be?
I think Mexico's going to win it 4-2, probably.
Because if it's a draw, if it's a draw.
He just missed the ball completely. That's the only reason he's going to get this foul, and he stomped on his foot.
Yeah.
Well, was it outside the box?
It was absolutely in the box. It was about almost a yard inside the box. At least 2 feet in the box. But anyways, assuming you said that Mexico's
Chucky Lozano's going to take it. Yeah. So they're going to go into halftime demoralized Jamaica at this point.
I would think so.
Because they had this game, and then they did this, and now they're going to go halftime tied 2-2. And what Jamaica tends to do, especially a depleted Jamaican team like this, is right now they're missing some guys. They're just going to slowly fall apart, I think.
Yeah, and I think they're going to force some things, and I think it's going to open them up.
Yeah. Now, we could be just absolutely wrong, and we're going to look like fools tomorrow. But
oh well. You know what? Both of us were hoping for Jamaica, but I think the 2-2 plays into the fact, and then you take into consideration that the rain has stopped, so that kind of levels the playing field, if you will.
Yeah.
So no,
Chucky scores.
I think that's going to happen.
Yep, Chucky scores 2-2. Panama, Costa Rica, Martinique. We already knew Martinique had no chance in this. Kind of like Suriname at least had some good games. But yeah, it's going to come down to Panama and Costa Rica in that last game. Who knows? Costa Rica is still having a lot of old dudes on their team.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, and I was talking before the show even started. I was like, we're going into this not even realizing where each of these games are going to be hosted at, because that might make a difference. I mean, if Panama's playing in Panama versus Costa Rica, that could make a difference. But what do you say about that, Derek?
I said it's do or die, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and it hasn't mattered to Jamaica. They came out firing on all cylinders. So I think you're going to see that regardless on these do or die games.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Panama, though. I think Costa Rica's old, and I think Panama's going to take that one. Yeah. And then we move.
I mean, that's my take. That's my take as well. I think Panama's going to take it.
Group C could get really interesting. We got 6 points to 6 points. We got Canada looking nervous, like nervous Nellies out there. I'm going to go with Honduras on this one. Sorry, Canucks, but I really think that Canada, outside of 3 players, just don't look that good to me. And they're looking older every day. They keep calling up these older guys. And I don't know how long you can keep doing that. I haven't looked at their roster for this game, but it's just, and their youngsters don't look promising. They really don't. So you got 3 or 4 really quality players, and then after that, it just drops off a cliff.
It's interesting looking at the losses here, because that means each one of these teams lost individually. So like Canada, I don't know who Canada lost to and so forth, but it's an interesting lineup or point spread.
Yeah.
I'm going with Canada though.
Okay.
No reason. I think their striker pool, and you take Davies into consideration, I think they'll open it up.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, really, it's a flip of the coin to me.
Yeah.
USA, El Salvador, we'll talk about that next, because that's it. That's the last game, and all we need is a tie.
And we do know this one's in Orlando, so it is at home. So that obviously benefits us, because for whatever reason, for the most part, and not for whatever reason, but we always tend to play extremely better at home than we do on the road, despite the fact that we're playing the same opposition and so forth.
I mean, Hugo Perez is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to make it. Well, okay, here's the thing. He's not going to be
no longer Greg.
It's not Greg, so you can't game plan for us if we play like we just did. Because if we play like we just did against Grenada with no positional, it's
fluidity between everybody.
Yeah, it's not positional soccer. There are no hockey game, little railways. You can push the hockey players in on that game you played at home with the hockey players where you spin the knob and they shoot and all that. That's all gone. I don't know how you game plan for a team that does not give 2 fucks about positions, but is going to be there to cover each other with that double pivot. And everybody else just fucking does whatever they want, except for mostly Scally not going forward very far. So you almost always have a back 3.
Which, well, we won't have that regardless, because we're probably going to have a Destin Jedi backup.
Right. Instead, this time it'll be Jedi. So you have to wonder, is Jedi going to be given free license to continue to bomb forward? Because somebody's got to stay back with the other 2 center backs, who are going to be likely Ream and Robinson. It will be Ream and Robinson with Turner in goal. So somebody needs to cover those guys, because I do think what Hugo Perez will do at the beginning of the game is go ahead and press us for a little while, see if you can't get a mistake, and then in the second half probably fall back into a mid to low block.
Probably.
And make us break it. Now, if we score, then he's going to have to come after us.
I was going to say, historically, at least against Greg, Hugo had played a high press constantly. Just kept pressing us, and that broke us down. That's why they were always a tough team to play against.
Right. And I don't think we have any hesitation at this point, especially with Ream, who didn't get to start during qualifying games because he wasn't called up by Greg. The thing about Ream, what makes him so vital, if we're going to play out of the back, is he can do it.
Yeah. Well, that is my if we're going to play out of the back, well, Ream can do that.
He can split lines. So it's not like if you're El Salvador, you can just go bursting forward and trying the press when a guy like Ream can switch fields and hit a guy on a dime out on a wing, or he can kick it through lines and get it to, Reyna playing center attacking midfielder.
Now
So
that trio with the double pivot of Musa, McKinney, and Reyna would be killer.
I think that's what we're going to see. And of course, we'll pick the team before we leave here. But I think Hugo Perez is going to have some trouble figuring out what the hell we're really going to do, because I don't think Hudson gives two fucks. I think Hudson, somebody said this, Chris Gary on the tweeted me today, and he said, listen, the fact that Hudson is just saying, fuck all the Berhalter shit, means that he doesn't think he's going to get this job. But my other counter to that would be, well, wouldn't he still want to be an assistant to Berhalter if Berhalter got the job? So you're going to shit all over Berhalter? No, you verbally continue to give Berhalter the verbal reach around, right? But in the meantime, you're playing the opposite of Berhalter ball. Opposite. You're saying, you guys go out there and play like big boys.
Well, it kind of begs the question that maybe he was sitting there in the background saying, Greg's like, we're going to come out and play our static robotic style, maintain most of possession and squeak a 1-0 victory here. And maybe Hudson's sitting there back, well, maybe we give him a little bit of fluidity. And Berhalter's like, shut the fuck up.
I doubt any assistant coach that was there for Berhalter ever opened their mouth and questioned his system ever. I mean, where else is Hudson going to get a job right now? He needed that job. You think he's going to sit there and go, hey, Greg, maybe we should loosen up on your system a little? No one's going to say that, and there's no good way to word that, right? Yeah. There's no good way to word that. Hey, maybe
Hudson pulls up the whiteboard. He's like, all right, Berhalter, here's what I say we do.
PowerPoint.
Remove the sticks from our players' asses.
Yes. I'm sure he did not do anything. He said, what do you want me to do? And he had to work within Greg's system. And in fact, when Hudson's first, friendly games, he continued the Berhalter system. But I think after a couple games of that, he's like, well, let's just do what I want to do. Fuck this shit. So again, they're going to continue to, rub Greg's private parts verbally in public, but out on the field, they're sticking it to Greg. They're basically saying, no, we're going to not only play a different formation, we're going to just totally play a different kind of soccer altogether, completely. No more.
Hudson can get away with it because all he has to say is, nah, it's still a 4-3-3. We're still doing this.
It's not a 4-3-3.
Yeah, I know, because obviously the 9 has the more freedom and he's staying higher up. And you could tell that when Pepe was playing, that he wasn't having to check back all the way to the midfield in order to get the ball to lay it off to our wings. And it's definitely a different formation in that sense.
I love these people who were always saying, yeah, who's going to play the 8/10? What games are you watching? It's an 8, dude. It's a box to box. If you want to pretend he's also a 10, go ahead. But
there was always a concept that one of either Musa or McKinney was more of an offensive-minded player that didn't check back as much.
That depended. It was a rotation. If McKinney had an opportunity, he went forward. If Musa had an opportunity, he went forward. And the other two were supposed to cover. And that's supposed to look a lot like a 4-2-3-1, but guess what? It never did.
But I mean, that's similar to like going back to the empty bucket days of Bob Bradley. With the center mid pairing between either Bradley and insert random player that plays with Bradley here, you always had one of those players that would always push up when they had the opportunity, and the other one always stayed back, and then vice versa.
But until the World Cup came, and Klinsmann decided no more of that dick shit. We're just going to basically, because he was playing a lot of 4-2-2-2 as well at one point, but he's like, no, World Cup, we're playing a 4-1-3, whatever he played with Beckerman in front of the back four with 3 midfielders in front of Beckerman.
Yeah.
It worked. It got us out of the group stage.
A very hard group stage too, yeah.
Yeah, I remember my Portuguese friend writing me on Facebook and saying, who is this guy with the horrible hair? He's really good.
Didn't look like he watched it for years.
I'm like, that's Beckerman. He's like, he's really good. How come I've never heard of him? You're not going to hear
cement boots. That's why.
Well, I said you're not going to hear much more from him. This is his last hurrah. He's like 29 years old at the time, I think. So that was it for him. And he was already slow, and he's going to get slower. And he did get slower. All right, so I'm picking USA to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
3-0. 3-0.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say it's probably going to be pretty handedly. But 3-0 sounds like a solid enough score.
I think we're on a roll. And based on that interview with McKinney, and we'll get into this next show, the McKinney Pulisic interview. Oh, man, they are handing the mainstream press some serious, you guys are fucking clowns. That's basically what they had to say during that interview.
They screen it, and they're like, well, that's a dumb question. We'll pick him.
Yeah. These questions were bad. And I don't want to point in any fingers at anybody specifically, because I'm not even sure who asked some of those questions. I doubt they were our people that we have had on our show. I doubt that it was.
Oh, no. There was
absolutely
100%. There was nobody that we've ever had on our show.
It wasn't Goff. Meg wasn't there, so it wasn't her. So pretty much all the people that, we've had on the show and we weren't part of asking those questions. So I think we're free to criticize those questions because you know what? The players are getting to the point where they're like, these are so stupid. These are just stupid questions.
You told me, you're like, oh, dude, you need to watch this interview presser. This is great. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that this is going to be like, it's going to be like the Reina Pulisic one where they just, it was nonstop laughs. And it kind of was for them.
Yeah.
But it's just
I love the one where the guy's like, oh, God, what made you decide, Pulisic, that this was your game? He's like, I never decided it was my game.
It was always,
we're a team.
Well, we'll go into more detail on the live stream, but
it
was always like, Weston, I know that Pulisic doesn't want to toot his own horn, but when you saw Pulisic performing at that high, incredible, amazing level?
Oh my God!
How did that make you feel? And he's just like, I can't. It would have been great if he joked around and goes, I expected it, and if he didn't play like that, I would have been pissed.
I mean,
that's how I would have said that, but.
The only other thing he could have said is, God damn, dude, what do you want me to perform fellatio on this motherfucker right here on camera?
That's next presser. They're finally going to lose it, yeah.
You want me to suck this guy's cock on camera? I mean, what do you want me to do? Jesus Christ. No. It's just horrible. All right, let's pick our starting 11 for the El Salvador game and pick it snappy since this is supposed to be.
We already said our back line. So we said Turner, Jedi.
No, this was supposed to be 15 minutes.
Yeah, no. We're hammering right through this last part here. So again, Turner, Jedi, Ream, Robinson, Dest.
Yep, easy.
McKinney Musa.
Kenny Musa is the pivot.
Pulisic, Reina, and who we have outright.
Would it be Aronson again or Booth? I think it's Aronson.
I think it's going to be Aronson again, yes.
Yeah, and then up top, Pepe again.
I think it's going to be Pepe again, yeah.
With DK coming in and again with the last 15 minutes, especially if we're winning easily, then he'll come in with maybe 20 minutes because no point in having Pepe running around there when we're up 4-0 or whatever. So,
but you know what? We made a prediction for the Grenada game, and Hudson said, "I'm not Berhalter. You can't channel your inner Hudson here. We're going to totally mess things up for you." So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Booth get more time, but at the same time, oh man, there was this big time piece that Connor put out on One Leeds Fan. That's on YouTube, his show. I watch it a lot. And he and his dad did a show just about Aronson. And it's about 10 minutes long, and they break down like what is his future, what kind of players he's going to be. And his dad is kind of like, give him time. He's still young. He's going to grow. He's going to get wiser. He's going to put on some muscle. And Connor's like, I think what you see right now is what he's going to be. I don't think he's going to get any better. Now, being that I said something like that about players in their 20s before, that is generally correct. Generally, that's true. In your 21, 22, 23, you might get a little wiser.
The thing I was going to say, skill level, I think we basically are seeing what Aronson will be. He might learn how to shoot a ball eventually. That's different.
I don't think so.
If I were the coach, I'm like, dude, you are sitting here taking 50 shots, and you've got to put away half of them.
That's got to be on. That's got to be on Aronson.
I agree. Aronson should take that into consideration too.
He needs to do it.
But I'm like,
his shooting is so bad, and his decision making in the last third is so poor that it just needs to be fixed. Frankly.
I was gonna say though that couldn't that issue be due to the spasmatic of his youth in that sense?
Well, he is a spaz, that's for sure.
And I think that him calming down and getting wiser with experience, which is what the dad was saying, from what I understand, could come into play, and that could make a difference. I'm not saying he's not going to turn into a world beater that's going to destroy defenses by any means, but he can get smarter and he can learn how to shoot. Those would be two big things right there.
If he were a FIFA player, the things that I think that he would improve on, if he had a FIFA rating and you had all these different categories, I think it could be situational awareness, it could be tactical awareness, and those things would help him know who the open guy is. Because so often when he's streaking down the field, there's like an open guy, and he does not find the open guy.
Yeah.
He just keeps plowing forward. And then self-awareness would be good, although I know that's not a trait on the game. All those things could improve. Is it going to bump him up 4 points? I don't know. Might bump it up 2 on the game, on the FIFA game, maybe 3 points at best. So if he's like a 75 now, he might get to 78, maybe 79. But I don't know. I'm kind of with Connor in like any giant leap at this point. I don't think any giant leap's going to happen.
But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. He's not going to be the star player of a team like for Leeds at that point. He could very well, just by gaining again some intelligence and some wisdom as far as how to move with the ball and when to get rid of the ball sooner, could make a massive difference from being a very situational player for that team. Again, he doesn't have to be the star of the team, but he can be a very competent player of the team, if you will.
I personally think what would help him is to have a night alone or with somebody he really trusts and just smoke a big bowl of opium and let it all come in and get a different vision of reality. Because I think what happens, there's too much going on in Aaronson's brain. And I think that would give him an idea that of an expansive world outside, externally, outside of the brain itself, that would allow him to understand and see the world differently. This is we're getting back to the concept that they had in the 60s and 70s about acid or whatever, and how it can expand the mind. Because I think that's
brain, yes.
Nah, it's if you overdo it. I was never a big acid dude anyhow. I mean, I did it, but I had my fair share of bad trips. Just saying, maybe something. I'm not recommending opium and specifically, obviously not. That's a joke. But he does need some sort of counseling or yoga or something that allows him to find a calm inner self, a calm inner peace. So yeah, not opium. Don't do that. Obviously, that was a joke.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Don't do opium. It's addictive. It's basically heroin you can smoke. So don't do that. But he needs to find some internal peace, because I just don't see him. And I was watching the U.S. soccer practice that they put up on U.S. Soccer today, and he made a mistake in practice. What did he do? His head dropped. He missed a shot in practice. And you're getting all on your shit and your head's dropping. That's not good. But he does the same thing at Leeds. He makes a bad play, and then you see him do this.
It's gonna take a seasoned vet to get in. Maybe Reyna can lend him Ream for a window, and he can mentor him a bit. Say, hey, I've made plenty of fuck ups in my time too.
Yeah,
I'm still here. It's okay.
Yeah, and I get it. It's hard. He's a young kid. He's over in Europe. He's got no family there. But
hey, Paxton's there.
He's got. Well, they don't exactly live next door, do they?
It's a quick flight. I mean, that's dirt cheap, right?
I doubt that's happening very often.
Oh, I guarantee you it doesn't.
But he does have
of the season.
He does have McKinney and Adams. So it's not like he's playing. I don't know. Name a player that played John Harkes. In England, the only American in England with no family, no friends, nothing. I mean, or Joe Max Moore when he was at Everton. No friends, no family, no teammates that are any way related to him or American.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I hope he has a good game. I mean, I'd like to see him score again. I'd like to see him actually not just score. I want to see him provide a clear, crisp assist in the final third. That's what he needs to do with Leeds. And if he could do it and get started against El Salvador, I think that would really help him.
Would definitely help to go down the right a little bit more. And against Grenada, we definitely hugged that left side of the field.
Well, that's great thing that Hudson brought up. He's like, so when we had the ball wide out left, those guys on the right need to be streaking, finding a pathway so Pulisic can lift his head, see them going towards those empty spaces and get them a ball in the air they can head in or trap with the chest and finish or whatever, because it's wide open. It was wide open all game long. Those two guys were just standing out there doing nothing, and they weren't making the runs that they needed to
get
make.
On that shit.
Yep. So
and if they don't do it here, do it here, maybe somebody like a Booth will take over this spot. But then again, I guess Way will be back at that point, so who knows?
Yep. All right, we'll be back on Tuesday, folks. We're going to be watching the game tomorrow, and then, soaking it in and coming back with a report the day after. We got plenty of other things to talk about. Lawless saying some weird shit. Some guy telling me I need to commit suicide. And
I haven't gotten a single death threat. I've been on that Twitter for the longest time. Haven't gotten a single death threat. This is not fair.
People find me threatening, Brad. And so we'll talk about those things. We'll talk about the Pulisic McKinney interview, and hopefully we just have really good things to say about the El Salvador game. I'm going to wish Hugo Perez not to win the game, but I hope his team at least performs for him.
Maybe he'll wow the U.S. men's national team, and then he'll be considered as an option.
Yep.
Not beat us, but maybe he'll wow the USSF by saying, hey, you know what? He put up a good fight. We'll go from there.
Well, and we'll talk about the very tenuous application of Greenland to join CONCACAF.
Yeah, look at that.
Greenland.
Powerhouse.
That'd be so cool. I'd love to play Greenland. That'd be so cool.
We probably won't unless it's in Gold Cup. Come on now.
All right. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, make sure you keep it nice and fluid, just like the U.S. national team. And if that requires some KY jelly, then that's what you got to do. We'll see you on.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.